Welcome to Bloomers in the Garden. I'm Len Schroeder.
And I'm Julio Zamora.
Relax. It's not too late to plant spring flowering bulbs. We'll revisit how to plant your bulbs for a beautiful display this spring in our first segment.
Alice came in this week and was having a problem with her fiddle leaf fig. Leaves are blotchy and not looking too good. We'll explain what's going on in our second segment.
Our buddy Harold Kozak from Staten Island called the Bloomers in the Garden hotline and had two questions. First was about growing garlic. Listen in on our third segment.
The second question Harold had was about feeding succulents. Listen in during the fourth segment.
Don't go to Thanksgiving dinner empty-handed. We're going to suggest some Hostess gifts that can bring some real joy to the family during our final segment.
So stay tuned. We'll be right back in the garden right after these messages. Bloomers in the Garden is brought to you each week by Bloomers Home and Garden Center. Bloomers is an award-winning garden center just 20 minutes from Philadelphia. Bloomers has been providing expert advice turning brown thumbs green for over 30 years. At Bloomers, we want you to ask us every question, even if you think it's silly. We share information in a friendly, non-judgmental way that is meant to teach and spread the joy of gardening. Visit Bloomers Home and Garden Center in Washington Township, Gloucester County. For directions, go to bloomers.com, and we'll see you in the garden.
Hi, this is Len Schroeder from Bloomers in the Garden. Do you have a landscape, garden, or plant question? If so, call or text us using the Bloomers in the Garden hotline. Dial 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. 1880. Don't be shy. We want to hear from you. Call or text us and let us know what problems you're facing. Let us know how we're doing. Call or text 609-685-1880. If we use your comment on the air, we'll send you a free Bloomers t-shirt. Call or text us at 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. And we'll see you in the garden.
Fertilome's Triple Action contains 70% neem oil and 0.25% pyrethrins as a concentrate and ready to spray. It is an insecticide, fungicide, and miticide labeled to use on vegetables, fruits, nuts, herbs, spices, and ornamentals. This organic OMRI-listed product controls a wide variety of insect pests and diseases, including aphids, scale, spider mites, whiteflies, rust, leaf spot, and powdery mildew. This insecticide is an all-in-one bottle that will cure just about any problem you may run into throughout the year. Fertilome's Triple Action has been helping gardeners across the country for years. Best to apply in late evening and early morning hours. Mix 1 ounce, which is equivalent to 2 tablespoons in a gallon of water. The best part is, Triple Action may be used up to the day of harvest. So, the next time you are visiting your favorite garden center, ask for Fertilome's Triple Action and expect to have the best-looking plants in the neighborhood.
You're listening to Bloomers in the Garden Radio. Listen anytime through your favorite podcast provider or see and hear us by subscribing to Bloomers YouTube channel. Bloomers in the Garden Radio is heard in Philadelphia and throughout the whole Delaware Valley every Saturday. First, wake up with us at 6 a.m. on WNWR The Word at 95.3 FM and 1540 AM. Tune in at 8 a.m. to Bloomers in the Garden Radio on Talk 860 WWDB. A rebroadcast of Bloomers in the Garden Radio is played each Saturday evening at 5 p.m. on The Word, 95.3 FM and 1540 AM. On Sunday at 8 a.m., we can be heard throughout the New York Tri-State Area on Classic Oldies, 1250 AM WMTR. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the garden. Welcome back to Bloomers in the Garden. So it's not too late to plant your spring flowering bulbs. Tulips, daffodils, hyacinths, crocuses, and more all can be planted. In fact, at Bloomers, we plant those 7,000 tulip bulbs around the store, and we're just getting started. So if you're thinking about it, you need to do it. You need to do it. The first thing, like, how do your annuals look, Julio? Did you pull them out yet?
No.
No? All right.
Still hanging in there.
So, the first thing you got to do is get those annuals out of there. You need to pull out the plants. Most of them have been hit by a freeze or a frost, and you got to get back to bare soil. And you're going to rake that all out, make sure you're getting rid of any debris and stones and everything else. And, well, if the ground is compacted, you need to turn it over with a digging fork or a shovel. That'll be fine. You just got to turn that soil over, loosen it up a little bit, or you could be cool like me.
Oh, what do you use?
I have a rechargeable cultivator.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Yeah, it's a battery-operated mini rototiller, the Mantis.
Oh, wow.
It's still working. I think it's 3 or 4 years.
A little power.
When we first started talking about that.
Yeah, I remember that.
Still working, still doing a great job. Digs down about 6 to 8 inches. Perfect for bulbs.
Oh, it is.
And that you can loosen it up. Just till that all over. It gives you a good shot to get some organic matter in the soil. Let's put in something like bumper crop or some compost and dig it in before you plant your bulbs. Now, bulbs appreciate well-drained soil and lots of organic matter, so all plants really do. So you'll be preparing your beds for your bulbs, but it'll be just as good for your annuals that will go on top of your bulbs. Now, again, most people try to cheapen out and just put a few bulbs in, and it's like, that's nice.
I got
Is
3
that a
of it.
weed or is that a bulb? They look best when they're in a mass planting, and I'm not just trying to sell bulbs. It just plain does. When you have an area that's at least like say 3 by 3 of a collection of bulbs, rather than like a foot, like where you like a pot of bulbs were, it just is more dramatic and it looks better. And it just don't cheapen out, and that most of your local garden centers will have bulbs on sale. Like I know we do. I think we're buy 3, get 1 free.
Yeah, that's a good deal.
So they're 25% off basically. And it doesn't matter what size bag you buy.
Yeah.
And that there's anywhere from you can buy a bag of like 50, and that's where you should lean to. Or, buy 3 or 4 different bags, but don't mix too many colors. The problem with that is that it's like your eye doesn't know where to look. Unless you're doing a really large area, try to keep solid colors. Of those 7,000 bulbs that we talked about, 6,000 are all the same color.
Wow.
There's 1,000 that are going into a little different area that's at the corner of Bloomer's property. That's going to be a little bit different. It's like a hinge to the rest of the planting. So Don't try to go crazy by like making it multicolor. It just,
rainbow effect.
Yeah, it's like, box of crayons got eaten and somebody threw up. It just is not it just doesn't have the same impact. Yeah. It just doesn't. Again, dramatic displays, lots of bulbs. And here's something to remember too. When you're planting, and we're going to go over how in just a moment, when you're planting, consider taking early bulbs and putting them in, like say you did crocus or you did something early like snowdrops, and put them on top of the later flowering bulbs, like say some of the Darwin tulips or some of the tulips that bloom later. Like we actually brought in parrot tulips into the studio. Well, do you have them so we can show our YouTube followers that parrot tulips is a different type of tulip that it almost looks like a peonies. That come on, Julio, there we go. Let's see. This is spontaneous radio. So if you go ahead and look at that, can you get that, Aaron? Yep. There we go. That's a parrot tulip. And it, like I said, it looks more like a peonies than it does like a regular tulip. So we'll put them side by side and try to make a comparison. So, your standard tulip and your, peony tulip, or parrot tulip and regular tulip. Again, different. Parrots are going to cost more, but they're also going to be later. Just keep that in mind.
I like the parrots.
They're funky. They are very, very cool.
Wow. Very James Brown funky.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is. And again, you can get solid colors as well. This is a mix that's complementary. So it looks like subtle differences between the colors, not like a difference between white and purple, So I like that. All right. So how do I plant tulips? How do I plant bulbs, period? You know, with sod, we jokingly say in the industry, it's green side up. Yeah, it's not that funny. Anyway, but with bulbs, it's the pointy side up. So just remember, the point goes up. Point goes up because that's where the stem used to be. And that underneath that was where the roots grow. So you continue to do that. So make sure that you keep that in mind when you're planting. There's a couple of ways to plant. If you're doing a large area, and this, like, my guys hate me because this is the way that I want them to plant our tulips. You go and you dig down to the depth that you need the tulip, and you're going to go 2 to 3 times the depth of the tulip bulb. So if the tulip is, say, 2 inches, you're going to put that thing 6 inches down. You're going to clear out an area of soil and dig out 2, 3, 4 feet by, the whole section wide. So you're digging out an entire layer so that it's the correct depth. And then you're putting your tulip bulbs in. Now you take that soil and you move it off to the side. And you'll hear in just a moment why. Then you're going to take the bulbs in that nice level area where the bulbs are going, and you go and you push them into the soil a little bit, twist so that they stay upright. Remember that point? It's got to be pointing to the sky. And if you're just throwing them in and they're really like somewhere like leaning or they fall over, you want to make sure that they're always pointing to the side. So you kind of push them in and twist at the same time, and you put them in proper spacing depending on the type of bulb that you put in. There will be instructions on the packages of bulbs. So again, if you're putting in tulips or you're putting in daffodils, you want to make sure that you're following the spacing recommendations of that particular variety. So now, okay, you go and you put them in. Now what? You take that next section, again, is 2 or 3 feet in the entire bed, and then you take that soil and you put it on top of the bulbs that you just placed in. Gently at first, so you don't knock them all over the place. And then you continue to repeat that process until you get to the end, and then you take that original soil and you move it to the last bulbs that you planted and cover them up. Mm-hmm. It works great because all of the bulbs are the same depth. They come up all at the same time. It gives you the opportunity, like if you have an issue where you have any type of rodents that try to eat your bulbs or squirrels that try to dig them out, what I suggest is putting on Repelzol. Now, we have a liquid Repelzol, but really what you want to do is use the granular Repelzol and put it right over the bulbs before you cover them up. And that will keep all of those tunneling moles, voles, squirrels, mice, all of the chipmunks, they'll keep them out of that area. So it's basically protecting them from vermin.
Great idea.
And that's what you need to do. So the other method of planting is like the dig, drop, done method, which we call it now these days. You basically take a bulb planter or a trowel or even one of those augers on the end of your drill, and you make individual holes on that bare ground that you just cleared out. And then you insert one bulb at a time, and then the next one, and then the next one. The only problem with that is that you often forget, did I put a bulb in that hole? If I remember, or you end up where it's not that great pattern that you can get when you're taking the soil out, putting the soil in, and then moving on that way. So there are benefits because you don't have to move all that soil. So if it's a smaller area, I have no problem with that method. No problem. Just go ahead and make sure that you're following the pattern. You don't want to like all of a sudden have a big gap because you forgot that you forgot bulbs aren't in there. Also with this way, it's a little harder to go and get some of the dual plantings where you're planting, say, some crocus or, grape hyacinths or things like that on top of whether they're tulips or daffodils. But again, just make sure you keep track of where those bulbs are. Next thing is you want to feed your bulbs after they're planted with a Spoma bulb tone. Espoma bulb tone is just a broad fertilizer for bulbs. You can also use it if you've got some left. You can use it in the spring as well on some of the plants that you purchase that are summer flowering bulbs, like dahlias and things like that. But I like bulb tone just because it's a little broader than just, say, bone meal. Bone meal works. It's a good fertilizer, but Espoma has the benefits of bone meal plus, and it's all organic. It's all organic, which is really good. If you're wondering whether you should step down your bulbs after you're planting to get them in firm contact with the soil, well, the answer to that is yes. You want to make sure that there's no air pockets around those bulbs to where they can dry out and they end up not producing the flowers that you want because the bulb basically dry rots in the ground. So again, we want to get good soil to bulb contact. That understood? Julio, got anything to add?
No, I like that method one, though.
Yeah?
Yeah, a lot easier.
It's easier in a way. The results are better. Guarantee that. Your results will be better. But it's not that you don't have to necessarily do it that way. You can do it the other way, but you got to make sure that you've got the bulbs at the same depth. You don't want to all of a sudden have some bulbs that are 6 or 8 inches deep and the other bulbs are 4 inches deep because they're not going to come up at the same time. But you have plenty of time. I think you can even plant bulbs into mid to December, December, where it's going to be colder. There's vernalization, which takes place, and that's, again, it's the bulbs need the cold and a long period of cold for them to produce flowers. So you can't take, all bulbs, like it can't be just taken right into, say, if you want to put some in a pot and bring it in the house, you won't get flowers, you'll get leaves. So make sure that you're getting your bulbs in, but once you're past really Christmas, it's real late, almost too late. I would then I'd put those bulbs into pots and leave them outside and see what happens.
Yeah, awesome.
Again, get out there, get your bulbs in the ground. It'll be the happiest thing that you do because you'll see them in the spring and they'll be amazing.
Early, yeah. Ooh.
They'll be amazing. All right, we'll be back in the garden right after this. Hi, this is Len Schroeder from Bloomers in the Garden. Do you have a landscape, garden, or plant question? If so, call or text us using the Bloomers in the Garden hotline. Dial 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. Don't be shy. We want to hear from you. Call or text us and let us know what problems you're facing. Let us know how we're doing. Call or text 609-685-1880. If we use your comment on the air, we'll send you a free Bloomers t-shirt. Call or text us at 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. And we'll see you in the garden.
Are you looking forward to a spring of vibrancy while using the best organically approved growing media for your annuals and vegetables? Coast of Maine's Sprout Island Organic Seed Starter has been created to set a diverse culture ideal for germinating seeds and root cuttings. Created using the best ancient composting techniques and new age mixing devices, Sprout Island Organic Seed Starter gently combines kelp meal, worm castings, mycorrhiza, perlite, and sustainably harvested peat moss, establishing the most desirable setting to enhance new plant growth. Coast of Maine's Sprout Island Organic Seed Starter is available at these local retailers, or visit www.coastofmaine.com to locate one near you. Staffers of Kissel Hill Home and Garden Store, Rorastown, Pennsylvania. Ashcombe Farm and Greenhouses, Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. Pickering Valley Feed and Farm, Exton, Pennsylvania.
This broadcasting segment has been brought to you by Bloomers Home and Garden Center. Who says you can't plant in fall? Have you checked out Bloomers Home and Garden Center? They've got tons of plants to put in the ground this time of year. Have you considered adding some color to your fall landscape? Right now is the time to head out to Bloomers and check out the selection of hardy mums, pansies, and asters. While you're there, check out Bloomers' line of autumn bliss plants. Plants and flowers that bloom through fall and thrive in autumn's cool nights and warm days. Don't forget to check out the end of the year nursery clearance. Save big on camellias. 50% off, 75% off all dwarf golden hinoki. Take $100 off blue atlas cedar, weeping or upright, and $50 off all blood good Japanese maple trees. That's not it. Save up to 75% off at the perennial clearance table. And yes, in case you didn't figure it out, we've got a ton of pumpkins of all shapes and sizes. And don't forget, back by popular demand, the porch pleaser. For only $25, you get 2 corn stalks and 1 straw bale. When you check out the showroom floor, you'll see a large variety of our handcrafted Amish fall decorations to commemorate fall being the coolest time of year at Bloomer's Home and Garden Center. Bloomer's Home and Garden Center is located at 344 Herfield Cross Keys Road, Washington Township. For more information, check us out on the web at bloomers.com. Bloomers, you've got to see this place.
Welcome back to Bloomers in the Garden. If your heat is running, you may be creating a pretty inhospitable place for your houseplants, huh, Len?
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. I tell you, we had Alice come in, and she had her fiddly fig, okay, which is a type of ficus, by the way. Big green leaves, those of you that know what we're talking about. It had like water-soaked stains in through the leaf, and also there's like small little spots that could be like you maybe call them an ulcer. And she had brought it from outside, and inside, it just looked really bad, and it was dropping some leaves too. It's interesting because again, that water-soaked look, you almost think, over water, right? Yeah. But no. We had an issue, and when we first built our glass greenhouse, and it's a retail display house, but it's all the same as if it were a production house where it's got its own weather station. It's controlled by that, and things move, open and close, and vents and everything else. Amazing. Compared to what we had before, we were in a drier environment, and that we didn't know what was going on. And we had a very similar issue, just like that she's describing with our houseplants early on. And this happened 20 years ago. What was going on is that the humidity had dropped so low, and we were used to, let's just say it wasn't as insulated as well as the new house. So what happened is that there was no humidity. And that's what's going on. So like, you said, when you bring your houseplants in, for one, they're in outdoor humidity. So they're used to that humid environment. Right. And again, it's, you go to your car and it's like right now, it's a little bit maybe ice on your windshield, but there are times when you go to your car and it's like it's filled with water where it's condensation. Your plants are benefiting from that. They love that. Yeah. You bring it inside, and then all of a sudden you have, it's like,
I don't like that.
Who changed, what's going on? Yeah. Put the humidifier on.
Absolutely. So what I did notice, obviously, as we left out of summer going into the fall season, that there was more and more condensation as the day goes by. Yeah. Right. And I'm watering my plants less and less. Yeah. Right. And then I had to pull up the annuals, obviously. But what I am noticing that, my shrubs and all of the things that are still in the ground right now, they're all good.
They're good.
They're good. My camellias, I haven't had to water them in like a week.
Yeah.
They're good.
Don't go too long.
No.
But again, and they bring it in the house. Now all of a sudden it's like, the heat's going on. And if you have forced hot air heat, you are like Arizona. Yeah. Okay, it's Arizona.
That would be me.
Oh, and our producer has a bloody nose.
Oh, yeah.
That's true.
In the winter how you get bloody noses and everything. They've got that static shock. That's all because the humidity is just sucked out of the air in your home. And that's what's going on with her fiddly fig. It's gone from a nice humid environment to all of a sudden the desert, and that it's just not liking the transition. And it's going to adapt, and it'll be okay. But that's why you have a mister. And I told Alice, I said, look, there are things that I'm supposed to do, like eat vegetables every day and eat so many servings. Yeah, I don't necessarily do that.
He doesn't.
If you All right, Julio.
Yeah, I'm watching over you.
Yeah, I'm watching over you. You're getting a pot belly.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. All right. Hey, folks.
Anyway, with that, misting is one of those things. It's really, really good for your plants. It'll help your plants get over the hump of being basically transition to the indoor environment. But I know all of you don't do it. I mean, some of you, maybe. And I tell you what, I commend you. But I gave Alice permission. I said, look, you can have a choice. Let the leaves fall and let them get ugly and then transition into your house. Just make sure your plants, just soil's watered and taken care of. And they go through an ugly phase. If you've ever tried to bring in like flowering hibiscus from outdoors to indoors, all of a sudden it's like it's raining yellow leaves.
Yeah.
Anyway, it'll transition and it'll be okay. The fact that we have less and less sunlight until the 20th of December doesn't help either, because all of a sudden they've had full sun outside or they've got plenty of reflected light. Now they're being brought in and they're having to deal with, being dark at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So again, that has something to do with it as well. But just let them go through the transmission. Don't overwater them. Water them, let them go dry, and then water. And your plants will adapt to now the indoor conditions. But again, it's the humidity, and it's as the more and more that your heating unit goes on, the more it's going to have to be contend with the humidity issues. My son Carl works at Bloomers. His room was more like a houseplant haven, and Carl moved out probably a year ago, maybe 2 years. About a year and a half. I don't know. Anyway. Stupid humidifier still working in his room, and I went in there. It's like, it's like, what is going on? You have the humidifier on.
No
it's one cheap way of being able to get the humidity on your plants. We just have to remember, if you've got carpets, you've got other things, you need to just be aware that you don't want to ruin your carpets. Aaron's shaking his head. Yes, it works.
It does.
It does work.
It does.
But again,
Yes.
if you got to have a few plants, if it was just one, get your thumb working or your finger working on a mister and just mist them once a week. That will absolutely help. Anything to add, Julio?
No, I think we're okay with that.
We're okay with that?
Yeah, I think so. I know my face gets a little dry too.
Your face gets dry? Oh, you need moisturizer.
Yeah, I know.
Belly's getting big. Your face is getting dry.
I don't know.
I don't know. Are you pregnant? No. All right. Be patient. Your plants will adapt.
Yes.
We'll be back in the garden right after this.
Are you looking to reach an audience of over 12 million residents in the Philadelphia, Delaware Valley, and New York City Tri-State? Then consider becoming a broadcast sponsorship partner for Bloomers in the Garden. Every week on Bloomers in the Garden Radio, your products become associated with the authority in everything lawn, landscape, and garden. For more information on the Bloomers in the Garden Partnership Program, feel free to call the hotline 609-685-1880 or check out the radio tab at bloomers.com.
Dreaming of a gorgeous garden? Give your azaleas, rhododendron, blueberries, and evergreens a powerful boost with the #1 acid-loving plant food, Espoma Organic Hollytone. Hollytone is a perfect blend of natural, long-lasting ingredients that nourish plants for stronger roots, faster growth, and bountiful blooms. Plus, it's easy to use and safe for people, pets, and planet. Visit espoma.com for a retailer near you and helpful gardening tips. Espoma, a natural in the garden since 1929.
If you're like me, then you absolutely love birds. The Bird Sanctuary at Bloomers Home and Garden Center has you covered. They're dedicated to the care and feeding of wild birds of all sorts. Want to bring more birds to your yard? Then you got to see this place. Bloomers has a huge flock of feeders, birdhouses, birdseed, and much, much more. Want to feed the birds and not the squirrels? They have this absolutely cool bronze bird feeder that will drive those sneaky squirrels nuts. They'll be moving to the next door neighbor in no time. OMG. Bloomers have these absolutely adorable birdhouses that will turn your yard into the perfect bird B&B. They carry all types of wild bird seed, suet, seed cakes, and mealworms. Bloomer stocks Lyric, Coles, CNS, Pine Tree Farms, and much, much more that will keep those beautiful birds coming back for more. Bloomer's Home and Garden Center is located in Washington Township in Gloucester County. For more information and directions, check them out on the web at bloomers.com. Bloomer's Home and Garden Center, you got to see this place.
Welcome back to Bloomers in the Garden. Hey, we received a call on the Bloomers in the Garden hotline from our buddy Harold. Harold Kodak, his son. Wait a minute. Aaron, are you going to be able to get this?
Let's get it.
His son is our meteorologist.
Yes, he is.
Yeah. Where are you?
What channel is that?
Where are you? Channel? He is the Philadelphia CBS meteorologist. You got it? Raise it up.
There you go.
There you go. That's Andrew Kozak. That's Harold's son.
Yes, it is.
That's pretty cool.
Not bad looking, man.
No, he's
Harold.
got that. Hey,
Got some good genetics there.
yeah, right.
Apple doesn't fall far from the tree, huh?
Yeah,
Do
there
you
you
think
go, Harold.
he's looking at the what do they call him? What's the guy that the head of the news? I think he's got one eye looking at him. It's like, all right, I can be done doing meteorology.
Wait, the anchor man?
Yeah, I can be the anchor.
You can be the anchor man?
I think he could. He's
All
got a
right.
look.
He could be, yeah.
All right, enough about that.
Yeah. Get back to Harold.
But again, that's Harold Kozak's son, who's Harold's from Staten Island,
Right.
and that he went and called us that he's having a couple of different problems. So we're going to settle his problems in 2 segments. So
Cool.
listen to his call.
Hi, Len. Hi, Julio. Harold Kozak here from Staten Island. I have 2 questions to ask you. First of all, I was out on a farm in New Jersey. They grow old organic stuff, and I bought these 2 huge bulbs of garlic. And about 3.5 weeks ago, I started to take some cloves. I took about 6 cloves, planted them. Now, the weird thing is 3 of the cloves came up and then have nice green stems, and the other 3 have never come up at all, and they're all from the same bulb, and that's kind of strange. I was wondering if you have any thoughts about that. And should I dig up those bulbs that didn't come up, and rather those cloves, rather than plant new ones, or just leave it? Maybe it's too late to grow right now.
Julio and I were talking about this earlier, and we originally said just leave it in the ground. You know, if you don't see anything growing yet, just leave it in the ground. It maybe pop up in spring. But then I started thinking, like, you can plant, garlic and onions still. It's not just like we were talking in our first segment about bulbs. You can still plant. Take a peek. Lift up the soil. It's not real deep, so lift up the soil, take a look, see if anything is happening. If you see roots or anything like that, let it in there. Let it in the ground. Just push the soil back and compress it. If you don't see anything, it's a clove of garlic. Go ahead and replace it and replant. Garlic is superior. And by the way, did you notice that Harold came to the Garden State in New Jersey and got his garlic?
Farm.
Thank you.
Yeah, we have farming.
We appreciate that. But again, it's, the one thing is, like, make sure that it's not rotting. If you see that it's rotting, then, definitely replace it. But it shouldn't be a problem. Giant allium. Right, I was thinking about this as I was going through. Giant allium is a type of onion, and if you're thinking about, planting the ornamental onion, which are those gigantic things that get about 6 feet tall, you can still do that. But also, plant some onions. And Thursday, how many onions will you be peeling and getting them from the grocery store and just going and peeling and peeling? You can grow your own. You don't need a large space to grow onions.
Yeah, tiny.
And we talked also about how onions that are planted in the fall are superior to the ones that you get later on. It's just easy. And you want to use onion sets. Here in the studio, we've got onion sets here. onion sets are little bulbs of onions, and it gives you a jump start to where you only have to wait about 90 days or so before you need to harvest. And that you'll see them popping out of the ground when it's time, and you'll see the size onion you want to go. You can let them grow a little bit longer. They do need to cure when you pull them up, but put in some onion sets see. I mean, you're paying, I think it's a 75 onion sets is like $4.
It's cheap.
What do you got to lose? Try it. Yeah. Try it. It's one of those things that all of a sudden it might become a staple in your garden, and it's something that you can do when there's no other gardening to be done. So, Harold, take a peek, see if they're rotted, see if there's anything going on, and if everything it looks as if there's something happening. Again, you may see some root hairs forming. Leave it in the ground; it'll grow. Otherwise, pop it out and put some more in. It sounds like you still have some reserve of those garlic cloves. All right, we'll be back in the garden right after this. Hi, this is Len Schroeder from Bloomers in the Garden. Do you have a landscape, garden, or plant question? If so, call or text us using the Bloomers in the Garden hotline. Dial 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. Don't be shy. We want to hear from you. Call or text us and let us know what problems you're facing. Let us know how we're doing. Call or text 609-685-1880. If we use your comment on the air, we'll send you a free Bloomers t-shirt. Call or text us at 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. And we'll see you in the garden. Fertilome Succulent Potting Mix with EcoPeat is the perfect ready-to-use potting mix for all your succulents. Fertilome Succulent Potting Mix is a blend of sphagnum peat moss, perlite, and EcoPeat. EcoPeat is a natural wood fiber from peat bogs. When added to Fertilome peat moss, it produces a superior professional substrate with an exceptional ratio of air porosity and water holding capacity. Fertilome Succulent Potting Mix will ensure maximum drainage with ideal water retention. It's simply the best succulent mix on the market. Ask for Fertilome by name at your local garden center. Available at Daniel's Garden Center, Sumneytown Pike, Harleysville, Pennsylvania. Gasper's Home and Garden, 316 Tanyard Road, Richboro, PA. Your next houseplant is waiting for you in Bloomers Home and Garden Center's greenhouse. Bloomers recognizes that houseplant choices are as important to your interior decorating as the fabric on your couch. The right plant, paired with the perfect container, can bring a dynamic change to your home. A houseplant brings life to your world and connects your home's interior to the greater outdoors. Even a small succulent placed on your coffee table has a way of connecting your living room to the Amazon rainforest. How about an air plant in your kitchen? Looking for an indoor flowering plant to add color to your plant palette? Bloomers has a large revolving assortment of flowering beauties. From aglaonemas to ZZ plants, Bloomers Greenhouse is stocked with your next favorite indoor plant. Bloomers carries a large selection of pottery and containers to match your home's decor and make any of your plants more beautiful. Bloomers experts can help you care for your plants and have the fertilizer, insecticides, leaf shine, and specialty soils you need to grow healthy and happy indoor plants. Visit Bloomers Home and Garden Center's greenhouse and make every room in your home a living room. Visit bloomers.com for more information. That's bloomers.com, and we'll see you in the garden.
Welcome back to Bloomers in the Garden. The second part of Harold's call was about feeding succulents.
My second question is this. For a couple of months now, I've had this big pot of succulents, and I placed them right near my carnivorous plants so they're getting plenty of light. Now, I've been watering them once a week, and they seem to be okay with that. Is there any kind of fertilizer I need to give them? Obviously, I can't give them my live crickets and flies that I give my carnivorous plants. But I was wondering, if right now, for the last couple of months, they seem to be doing fine without giving them any added nutrients. But if you could suggest something to me, I'd be more than happy to look into it. Thanks a lot, guys, and have a great day. Bye.
Those of you that don't know are new and have never heard Harold is a carnivorous plant connoisseur. He is an expert and that's his thing. He is totally into carnivorous plants. So again, he doesn't have like an excess of crickets or flies. Well, that I'm aware of. But maybe that's how he got his interest started. Who knows?
We never know.
But look, if you've got succulents, and they are probably the most popular houseplant right now, don't feed your succulents or your houseplants during the winter. The cut down of the amount of sunlight that they're getting, and they're naturally slow down, and they're really, like we talked about in that other segment with Alice, that she brought up her fiddle leaf fig, that they're dropping leaves. They're dropping leaves because they're not productive. So those leaves that when you transfer your plant from indoors to outdoors, where it's just getting rid of leaves that aren't producing food because there isn't enough sunlight for them all to be sustained. So don't force feed your succulents. Don't do it. Your succulents or any of your houseplants. Just remember, yellowing of leaves is sometimes just a natural occurrence. You want to make sure you're giving them enough water, but not too much. They are they're in that cactus family that they don't require as much. And Harold was watering a lot. If you're every 2 weeks, that's usually enough. Also depends what soil they're in, how big the pot is. If you're watering too much, that the leaves will get a soggy appearance, that you can tell that the leaves actually, and the color of the leaves change. You're going to let them dry out completely, and then go ahead and give them water. But if there's a saucer underneath it, make sure that saucer the water doesn't sit in the saucer and they draw that water from the bottom. You want to pour that saucer water out, because you do, again, want to create a drier environment, not a wet environment. Good news.
Wow.
You don't have to mist them.
Yeah, you don't.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
That's interesting that you brought up the whole saucer thing, man, because I did have a plant when I first started working at Bloomers. They got root rot inside because of the saucer, and I didn't realize it because I was using a plate. I'm just looking, but that is a great point. Thank you.
Yep. Yeah. So again, just dump that water if you've got cactus or if you have succulents.
My aloe plant. That's what it was.
Yeah.
It was really bad.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was small though, really, really small.
Yeah.
It was a really tiny baby.
I guess it's smaller now.
Yeah, well, it's being used now for lotion and all types of stuff. We cut it up. Rest in pieces.
Well, listen, if you do get to, say, March and April, you want to go ahead and start fertilizing. What you want to use is Espoma's organic cactus and succulent fertilizer. It is an excellent fertilizer. It's easy to use. You're just going to basically take a quart of water and take the cap and put a cap full of the fertilizer in, and you just water it with that. Perfect. Yeah. Do it every, anywhere from 2 weeks to once a month. And again, it's more during the spring and summer, and then you start tailing off when it comes into, say, you get to September. That's where you start tailing off. And again, Espoma, I went to their website just to do some research. They have a new ebook on houseplants, The Total Guide to Growing Houseplants. And it's an ebook. If you go to their website, again, that's www.espoma.com/houseplant-guide-2. Tell you what, go to espoma.com. You'll find it. You'll find it. And again, it's an online ebook about growing houseplants. Very informative, great information. If it's time to transplant, you want to use Espoma's cactus soil. That, again, has the same thing for succulents. It's what succulents are craving as far as the soil goes. So, again, Espoma has fantastic products. Their fertilizers, their soils, it's used everywhere. I mean, I've been preaching Espoma for, I guess, since I earned my green thumb, which I don't remember when that was, but 40 years
at least.
And the company has adapted. Maybe Jeremy is the owner of the company now. his dad, who I didn't realize, put him on the road as a salesman. And he got the good fortune of meeting me, and I just blasted all the things that they should be doing and shouldn't be doing. And here I didn't realize that here's the future president of Espoma. But they have their factories are all green. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing. Espoma is a great company, great family in Millville, New Jersey, and I think they just built a production facility in Pennsylvania.
Oh, they did. Wow. Are they nationwide?
It's something to support. Is it nationwide? It's more regional. It is nationwide, but in the Northeast, in the Midwest, it has a greater following than once you get over the Rockies. But again, it should be. It should be. Again, Espoma, go to espoma.com. It'll read the story of the company. It's pretty amazing. And you know what Espoma stands for? Come on, give a guess. Yes. Got a guess? Sam, got a guess what Espoma stands for?
Especially Poma.
Well, that's a good guess. At least you guess. Julio's bailing on me. Eastern States Poultry Manure.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
I was close.
You know?
I would have had that.
I can remember when it used to be sold in like those really bad bags where it used like a bag of potatoes where it has that wire cutter, the thing on the top. Yeah. Because, again, the company has been around for a very, very long time, but they have modernized everything to today. Wow. So, again, if you're looking for a green company that grows green things, Espoma is where it's at. We'll be right back in the garden right after this. Some of our most frequent questions revolve around organic container gardening for houseplants, annuals, and, of course, vegetables. Coast of Maine's Bar Harbor Blend Organic Potting Soil is a lightweight soil mixture made with salmon, blueberry, lobster, and other composts, as well as calcium and chitin-rich lobster shells, sphagnum peat, perlite, and kelp meal. It is a great soil. And Coast of Maine's Bar Harbor Organic Potting Soil is rich in organic material, creating lush, disease-resistant plants that require less watering, less feeding. Its rich, dark brown color provides the perfect balance between water retention and drainage needed for healthy plants. Coast of Maine's Bar Harbor Blend Organic Potting Soil is available at these local retailers.
Forcelati Brothers, Rivervale, New Jersey. Calgo Gardens, Freehold, New Jersey. Tony's Farm and Garden, Windsor, New Jersey. Dreaming of a gorgeous garden? Give your azaleas, rhododendron, blueberries, and evergreens a powerful boost with their #1 acid-loving plant food, Espoma Organic Hollytone. Hollytone is a perfect blend of natural, long-lasting ingredients that nourish plants for stronger roots, faster growth, and bountiful blooms. Plus, it's easy to use and safe for people, pets, and planet. Visit espoma.com for a retailer near you and helpful gardening tips. Espoma, a natural in the garden since 1929.
Are you looking to reach an audience of over 12 million residents in the Philadelphia, Delaware Valley, and New York City Tri-State? Then consider becoming a broadcast sponsorship partner for Bloomers in the Garden. Every week on Bloomers in the Garden Radio, your products become associated with the authority in everything lawn, landscape, and garden. For more information on the Bloomers in the Garden Partnership Program, feel free to call the hotline 609-685-1880 or check out the radio tab at bloomers.com.
Welcome back to Bloomers in the Garden. Hey, Thanksgiving is Thursday.
Oh, right.
You ready, Julio?
Not yet. Not yet.
You're not ready for Thanksgiving?
Well, in a way I am, but
are you
cooking-wise?
Andy's going to cook, right?
Oh, you kidding me?
Anyway, Thanksgiving is Thursday, and we've got some ideas on what to bring your host as a hostess gift, or host or hostess. Yeah. I love when you split perennials, right? You split perennials and you bring your host, you don't bring them a bag of, roots.
With soil.
Okay. You don't bring a bag of roots. What you do is you tell them that you're bringing your favorite perennial, and that could be anything from black-eyed Susans to you name it, lavender. It could be what have you, whatever you have an abundance of that needs to be split. Hostas. But the key is don't just hand them the bag full of roots. You go and you plant it for them when you go to Thanksgiving. Yeah, you may be dressed up in that three-piece suit, Get out there. Keep it clean. You can do it. You can do it. Bring yourself. If you're bringing the roots, go ahead and bring a pair of sneakers and go ahead and dig a hole. And all you do is plop it in. And every time that blooms, who are they going to think about? They're going to think about you. You know, just, well, you don't have any Thanksgiving faux pas, do you? No. I'd love to hear it. Could you imagine, Julio? I know you don't drink, so that's not even worth talking about. But again, I love if when you bring something like that, because every time it's in flower and every time it blooms, that it's part of you that you're giving them. I don't know. It's interesting. I don't know. What are you talking about, Aaron?
I'm talking about Julio moving his face behind the mic, man.
Julio, get
your face on camera. There you go. There you go.
Hey. Those of you that are watching on YouTube, you see exactly what we're talking about. Come on, Julio, get in here.
He wants me to get closer to.
Yeah. All right. Another idea.
Go ahead.
I'm sick of mums.
Oh, I guess so.
But there is a beautiful brown, and it's a daisy type of mum that's called Point Paley. It's just pretty. It's just nice. And it's a florist mum, which looks different than the mum that you planted out in front of your house. It's a great plant, large flowers, very pretty. You'll find them at most garden centers. And we talked about succulents. Mm-hmm. Succulents are awesome. And why are succulents awesome? It's not so much the succulents. It's that you can plant them in almost anything. Go get a martini glass, put succulents in a martini glass, and that they'll live. They'll live. They don't need that kind of watering that other plants do. So you can get succulents, plant them in a martini glass, and bring that to your host as a hostess gift. Very cool. If you've got old, chipped china, or a bowl set, for instance, that's got a chip in it, that you can plant it in that. And cookware, you can do it in anything. It's a great thing to do for somebody, and they'll be successful because succulents aren't hard to take care of. Yeah. So, orchids, don't be afraid. Yeah. Okay, orchids are easy. They're easy. Danielle, my girl, she gets her orchid to rebloom every time. It goes through its cycle where it stops blooming, then she gets it to rebloom. Then it stops blooming, then she gets it to rebloom. I can't get over it. She told me, she goes, no, I get it rebloom all the time.
Why, can't you do it?
I don't know. I don't have any orchids.
Oh, okay.
But Danielle does. Oh. And that orchid is she just leaves it alone. It's not anything special. She doesn't feed it. She doesn't do anything. She just kind of ignores it. And it does it all on its own. Every once in a while, just giving it some water to keep it hydrated. Mm-hmm. Orchids are easy. They look great. And that it just does make that presentation where it feels like something special. And last but not least, we sell more poinsettias for Thanksgiving. I mean, it takes all the way up to the second week in December before we're hitting the numbers that we hit before Thanksgiving. Bring a poinsettia and, make sure you get it from your local garden center. But what they'll do is they'll put foil on it. They'll put a bow in it. They'll put a little card in it that you can write on. Get started. And
they're not just red now.
That's right. I mean, in the studio, again, if you look on our YouTube channel, and please subscribe and give us 5 stars because we've earned it. Well, if anything less, keep it to yourself. But please subscribe to our YouTube channel because you can see the poinsettias that we brought in, the colors that are different. Like a white poinsettia now is actually like paper white. It's a real white color, not like a yellowy white like the old types are. It's called, these are Princetta poinsettias, and that they're just different colors, and it's all about breeding. It's science, Julio. It's science.
It is science.
And always, every garden center has their ornament collections. We just had our open house, which was a great time. Again, that's something where bring an ornament that's special. Do that too. Again, plant the perennial. I like the perennial idea.
Yeah, I like that too.
Bulbs, yeah. But you have to plant them. Don't hand somebody work to do. Yeah. Do it for them. Yeah. Do it for them. And that when they see those plants flowering, who do they think of? Julio.
Me.
We'll be back in the garden right after this. Hi, this is Len Schroeder from Bloomers in the Garden. Do you have a landscape, garden, or plant question? If so, call or text us using the Bloomers in the Garden hotline. Dial 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. Don't be shy. We want to hear from you. Call or text us and let us know what problems you're facing. Let us know how we're doing. Call or text 609-685-1880. If we use your comment on the air, we'll send you a free Bloomers t-shirt. Call or text us at 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. And we'll see you in the garden.
This broadcasting segment has been brought to you by Bloomers Home and Garden Center. Who says you can't plant in fall? Have you checked out Bloomers Home and Garden Center? They've got tons of plants to put in the ground this time of year. Have you considered adding some color to your fall landscape? Right now is the time to head out to Bloomers and check out the selection of hardy mums, pansies, and asters. While you're there, check out Bloomers' line of autumn bliss plants. Plants and flowers that bloom through fall and thrive in autumn's cool nights and warm days. Don't forget to check out the end of the year nursery clearance. Save big on camellias. 50% off, 75% off all dwarf golden hinoki. Take $100 off blue atlas cedar, weeping or upright, and $50 off all blood good Japanese maple trees. That's not it. Save up to 75% off at the perennial clearance table. And yes, in case you didn't figure it out, we've got a ton of pumpkins of all shapes and sizes. And don't forget, back by popular demand, the Porch Pleaser. For only $25, you get 2 corn stalks and 1 straw bale. When you check out the showroom floor, you'll see a large variety of our handcrafted Amish fall decorations to commemorate fall being the coolest time of year at Bloomers Home and Garden Center. Bloomers Home and Garden Center is located at 344 Herfield Cross Keys Road, Washington Township. For more information, check us out on the web at bloomers.com. Bloomers, you've got to see this place.
You're listening to Bloomers in the Garden Radio. Listen anytime through your favorite podcast provider or see and hear us by subscribing to Bloomers YouTube channel. Bloomers in the Garden Radio is heard in Philadelphia and throughout the whole Delaware Valley every Saturday. First, wake up with us at 6 a.m. on WNWR The Word at 95.3 FM and 1540 AM. Tune in at 8 a.m. to Bloomers in the Garden Radio on Talk 860 WWDB. A rebroadcast of Bloomers in the Garden Radio is played each Saturday evening at 5 p.m. on The Word, 95.3 FM and 1540 AM. On Sunday at 8 a.m., we can be heard throughout the New York Tri-State Area on Classic Oldies, 1250 AM WMTR. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the garden.
See me and Julio down
Me and Julio
tell
down
you
at the
what.
schoolyard. Get your bulbs in.
Bulbs, yeah, they're ready.
You know, get your hostess gifts ready.
Yeah,
and I hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving. We're going to do a segment that was what we're happy for Thanksgiving, but I don't know if Aaron wants me to do this or not. Before we went on air, I want those of you that to know that Aaron got message from his dad is in the hospital.
I appreciate your thoughts.
And
guys.
that those
you.
of you inclined, would you please pray for the Aaron
For sure.
Thompson and Robert Thompson, Aaron's
Thank you,
family.
guys.
Could
It
be
goes
serious.
a far way. It goes a long way. I really appreciate that, guy.
Yeah,
For real.
Yeah, and
Thank
just
you.
send your thoughts. So,
But I am thankful for all of you guys and your support. We're thankful for all of our listeners.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Thank
right.
you for all of our
That's right.
supporters.
Yeah.
And we're thank you for those that keep us strong, for sure.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. All right.
All right.
Everyone, have a blessed Thanksgiving. We'll see you right here next week, right here in the garden.
We'll see you in the garden.